Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone is enjoying their day. I know it's been a while since I've been on the Rebuilding Community Trust channel. And of course, it's been real busy. My summer's been busy and really kind of just really getting back into putting out videos. And I just hope everyone's doing well. If it's your first time checking in with the channel, as always, check out the other material that's been put out. And if you like what you see and you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like the video for today. And for those who has been tuned in and continue to share the videos, continue to support. Again, I know it's been a while since I put a video out. I'm gonna start getting back into putting out videos and be a little bit more consistent again. It's been lifing and I've been busy. So some things I want to touch on. I know, I put out some videos before about talking about certain topics. I'm still going to stand on that. But there's some things I do want to say. And of course, these topics are already probably been talked about and wore out to the point where you probably don't want to hear this stuff no more, but kind of compelled to kind of put some stuff out. Okay. And hopefully you'll keep open mind. Hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit and have a different perspective, at least entertain the idea of what I'm about to say, and to not just say, oh, here's another video. Because again, these topics has been put out so many times already. And I'm probably just, it may seem like I'm just arriving or it's been, I'm late to the party per se, but I have been tuning in to what's been going on. And again, I just want to offer some 2 cents. All right. And you take it for a grain of salt, take it for how you want to take it. Of course, again, the goal of this channel is to educate and hopefully empower people to make good, smart decisions when it comes to the communities that they live in, regardless of race or color. I want to try to empower. So first thing I want to touch on is the Sonya Massey shooting. Okay, this is back in July 6th, I think. And I've kind of followed it, not really, but it's certain things that I want to kind of just, again, when we think about dealing with the law enforcement. Of course, we had plenty of different encounters I've discussed on this channel. And again, I'm not going to really dig into the crevices of it, but I do want to say when it comes to protecting our family members, there was a video that I watched a while back where, don't know the guy's name, but he was talking about how when it comes to family members, educating those family members when it comes to different mental illnesses or mental issues. In this case, I kind of think that it was a little bit different. But regardless, when it comes to family members, and we know when it comes to lifestyles and when it comes to family living their own, you want to have some type of check-in. You want to have a representative or someone that can respond. Because police may not be trained, they may not care, they may just be trying to do law and order, they may just be, moving on about their night or about their day. When it comes to certain things like this, we always want to have a family member, someone that can advocate and they can be there to support. And this is something that, again, another individual said, and I just kind of want to piggyback on it, and being able to show some type of advocacy when it comes to mental illness. As far as what she said, I want to caption on what she said. And again, I have other channels for this, but I'm starting to be more open about on this channel specifically, but I want to talk about, when it comes to Jesus, right? So when she said rebuke, when she said to the police officer, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. There's a statement with that. Okay. There's a statement with that. And again, I know some people may not be religious. They may not believe in Jesus and that's your prerogative. But when we're dealing with certain things in this season, right, we got to understand that there are spiritual forces at work, right? And I've said this before, and we got to kind of really take us, again, open minds, sit back and kind of think about what she said, right? It can mean nothing. It can mean, it's a statement, or you can be saying that he had no right to shoot her, which we understand that. I mean, he obviously was completely he was completely wrong. He was completely out of his scope of discretion when it comes to police, making a decision to use his weapon. Okay, but just capture what she said. That means to me, and again, when it comes to walking with Jesus, right? We understand that there's spiritual forces at work. That should be a open door to think that there's something else going on besides just someone shooting someone, right? Whether that's a police officer or whether it's somebody in the street, whether it's somebody that comes into a home, whatever the case may be, right? This is spiritual forces at work, right? So with that being said, what she said cost her life, not just even when it comes to the wrongfulness of the police officer, but it's also when it comes to spiritual forces and her saying what she said to him and he responded back to her. So being mindful of the people that's in your life when it comes to family members, right? This is not discriminatory any color or race, but again, being mindful of who your family members are and having that type of communication and understanding, and even if you can train or advocate for them to say, hey, look, this person has something going on. Good, let's do this differently. Again, it's about empowerment of our communities, right? It's empowerment of us as a family members or community or neighbors or whatever case may be to go in and educate ourselves, but educate those around us. So when these situations come up, we can, if it's not like criminal where someone's breaking into the home, she thought it was a burglar in the home, but if it's something else, right? Then that person can call and say, hey, I'm having a attack of some sort, mental illness attack or attack, schizophrenic or whatever, mania. That person can respond. So this is something that, again, I just wanted to share. When it comes to right and wrong or who did what, we can kind of be obvious and tell what this was obviously a wrongful act. And when it comes to response, we can go down that road. We can go into the protest. We can go into all these types of things. But again, I've said this multiple times on this channel about what ways when it comes to the type of stuff like this, when it comes to shootings. But in this case, advocate, educate, and be able to say, hey, this person may have an illness. This person may be dealing with something at the time. Let's approach this differently versus someone breaking to the home and shooting, or is breaking to his home to rob or steal, burglarize, right? Then that's a different story. So that's really all I got to say about the Sonya Massey thing. Again, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I do want to kind of address that in the sense of an educational standpoint, where let's involve ourselves more in our families, and if we are, let's educate ourselves on what they got going on, and being able to hopefully have a conversation and say, hey, look, if this happens, let me call you, or let me call this specific person, get them on the phone. So once again, we can have that accountability. The officers come to the door. One, they know, okay, if you respond to a distress call, that person should be able to communicate or have someone on the phone and say, hey, look, this is what's going on, right? Have another second party in case something goes wrong in this situation where there's a second person on the line, or there's another person in the house that can account for what's going on, hopefully, right? That's the kind of education standpoint. So the second thing I want to talk about is, and we all know this, elections. We have elections coming up in November. If those who already started voting or already started kind of getting themselves together to vote in their local areas, their states and their cities, right? This is important. And I made a video on my other channel, Freedom Fighters channel, and I was talking about how we can get caught up into race. We can get caught up into their feelings, their emotions of this person, what this person said about Donald Trump, this person says about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, okay, RFK, okay. We can talk about these different individuals. A lot of the stuff I've been listening to and reading and paying attention to and on and off, not all the time, is the wars between these two, the main primary candidates, Democrat, Republican. Kamala Harris, presidential candidate. Donald Trump, presidential candidate for the Republican side. And I hear so many different mixed views. You have some saying they don't like Donald Trump because of how his character, his attitude, he's this, he's racist, he's this and that and the other. And then you have Kamala Harris. That is, and you do the research, she has some small amount of black African descent. She's mainly Indian, okay, parents Indian, Jamaican, even though in Jamaica it's multiple different colors, multiple different races, multiple different ethnicities. It's not just black Jamaicans, it's Asian Jamaicans, there's white Jamaicans, okay, even Indian Jamaicans, there's all types of cultures. Just like America, we have multiple different cultures. Just like if you go to other countries, you'll see versions of different people. Even I was in Australia, I've seen black, dark-skinned Aborigines. I've seen dark-skinned different types of other races. Okay, so it's not just one race. So with that being said, a lot of people are, especially in the black community, want to go and vote for, they want to vote for Kamala Harris. All right. I'm not telling no one on this channel to vote for a specific person. Okay. All I say is, and like I said this on my other channel, there are things at work and at play that is beyond just the skin color, that is beyond just the attitude or the idea, or even when it comes to even views. Okay, some people align with Donald Trump because his ideas, who he is. Some people align with Kamala Harris because of who she is, or more so what race she is. Okay. When we think about voting, and we can get into the history of electoral voting, we can get into electoral college, we can get into the history of how voting even began, right? And some people think that voting isn't a big thing. Some people think that voting doesn't matter. Okay, but we gotta break it down. We gotta understand and research for yourselves. What is the purpose of doing what we're doing, and when it comes to November? One thing I want to say is, let's look at, and this is something I've heard on other podcasts, they say it doesn't matter about the policies, it doesn't matter about this and that. It's a matter because she has this skin color. She has a percentage of black or African in her blood. Again, policies. What is this candidate gonna? And this is another thing too. You want to understand. Okay, understand levels of how the stuff is run. You got to understand the executive branch. You got to understand the legislative branch. You got to understand the judicial branch. You got to understand state, local, and federal. Okay, there's parts to this. So even if we vote for a presidential candidate, they have federal authority, executive, right? So they can impact the nation as a whole. They can put down stuff in the federal and executive branch side. But we also got to think about the state. Federal can't cross over to state in certain aspects. There's state governments and there's federal governments. So yes, it's important to vote for president. Okay. But you got to understand that voting trickles down too. So as we're thinking about voting for a particular candidate, policies, how are they going to impact my life? How are they going to impact the communities that I live in? If you think about, and this is something too, right? When you break down tax cuts, this is the thing that both parties have said. Tax cuts. These tax cuts are going to affect who? Some are going to tax the rich more. Some people are going to tax the middle class. Some people or cut taxes for the middle class. They're going to cut taxes for the lower income families. What are some policies and programs that this presidential candidate is going to do? Okay. When we think about foreign policy, this is something that is important for those who are in the military, like myself, right? If you're thinking about foreign policy, how does that candidate handle foreign policy? Are they going to be able to hold themselves against other world leaders? Are they going to be able to sit in position with the world leaders? Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping in China. You have Vladimir Putin. You have Emmanuel Macron. You have Kim Jong-un. You have these different leaders. There's Iranian. There's Germany. I don't know all the names, but we have the main leaders. You go to these summits and sit before these leaders. What are you going to do for the foreign policy? How do you dictate the government? How do you the military? How do we, you know what I'm saying? So we got to really think, and even going into the history, going into we know wars are money makers, right? We know these things, right? We know, you know what I'm saying, the military numbers are not the highest right now. You got to think about the times that we're living in. Okay? So, I'm not going to go too deep in foreign policy, but obviously even when it comes to exports and goods, when it comes to goods and services, when it comes to how much we rely on other countries to make our products and bring our goods to us. If a country decides to tax this or tax that, you know what I'm saying, these things affect us, our way of living. So that's policy and dealing with economics, these inflations, and dealing with groceries and all these things, right? These things are on the forefront. But again, you see a lot of it, and I'm sure you have, but I see a lot of it where it's about, I don't like this person candidate. I don't like Donald Trump because he's taking my rights away. We have reproductive rights, right? You know, we're talking about reproductive rights for women. That's a big thing. All right. A lot of people want to side for Kamala Harris because she's going to continue to have reproductive rights for women. Okay. She's a woman because since she's a woman, then she understands me. So I'm going to vote for her. Right. A lot of people for Donald Trump care about the economy. Make America great again. Economics. Getting us out the hole. Right. Cares about, you know, these different things when it comes to issues with the border. He's in the military. When it comes to dealing with certain aspects of state government in regards to I'm not even state government, I'm sorry. But when it comes to Supreme Court or involvement in certain things. Some people are rocking over here for Donald Trump. So you have this big divide. You have Democrats and Republicans. You have people that's living in cities such as Chicago, New York. You have people living here in Seattle. You have people living in California, San Francisco. Democrat-run cities, right? You got federal and state. You got Republican, federal and state. You got Congress. You have Senate. So all these pieces should be thought through when it comes to voting. It's not just the president. You got state representatives. You got your local, your cities that you're living in. You got so many other pieces. Because yes, you can have a candidate in the president in the White House, but you also got to think about your state government. So, understanding that, you know, people bashing people for, I don't want to vote because she for color. I don't like Donald Trump, or I don't like Kamala Harris. You got all this division. Now, for me personally, there are issues with both candidates. No candidate's 100% perfect. There are issues with Donald Trump. There's issues with Kamala Harris. Personally, voting for it's going to be interesting to see the outcome. Not to really ride on my personal beliefs. I'm trying to not cause more division, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you already have people talking about, I don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. I don't want to vote for Donald Trump. Keep in mind that there are other forces at work. I've said this before. Keep in mind that you voting for one candidate or the other candidate, there are other things at play. Okay? There are spiritual forces at play, whether we choose to believe it or not. If certain candidates, I'm going to say certain, not certain, both candidates, if you're voting for a particular candidate and you're not thinking about what they're doing, policies, views, culture, what they're signing on, or what they're passing laws for, these laws that they pass could affect the spiritual realm. So if I pass, and again, I know people don't believe, and some people do and some people don't, however you want to see it. But if there's biblical based things there in the Bible, and this candidate says, I'm going to pass this law, and it's going to affect the people, the land, the states, the whole country, and it goes against those biblical based principles, then it's going to cause an effect in the spiritual realm. It's going to cause one entity or the other to move. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people don't care to understand. But that there are spiritual forces at work when it comes to who we choose. There are also spiritual forces at work that's behind the scenes that may be orchestrating these candidates, orchestrating the numbers, orchestrating the those who win, who don't. Some people say that Kamala Harris has already got in the bag, right? Some people saying that Donald Trump has it in the bag. But I would say this: it behooves you to research and really understand what policies that matters to you. Reproductive rights matter. Make your choice. If the economy matters, make your choice. And realistically sit back and see. You have the president in office now. Is he doing what he's supposed to do for the country? And not just him, you're also your representation that's in the state government. Your state governors, your state representatives, your House of Representatives, your congressmen, your city and local governments, your mayors. Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing for the standard that you want set? Think about this from the state level, the local level, all the way to the federal level. If you have a Democrat House of Representatives, Democrat governor, mayor, whoever, are they doing what they're supposed to do? Or you have a Republican mayor, Republican governor, does they doing what they're supposed to be doing? This will help you decide from the state level to see, okay, now if I got my local and state level right, then I can go to my federal level. Then I can go to the president of the United States. People just stop at the president of the United States and they just say, okay, I'm gonna vote for these, and that's it. And that's all who matters. No, you have all these other representation. You have your judges, you have a lot of different people that's in these positions that impact your day-to-day. Your city councilman impacts your commissioners, impact your school superintendent, impacts your kids, your schools. If you go to the Secretary of Education, that's at the federal level. But what about your superintendents? What about your people that's at your local level? Those who pass bills and pass laws and funding for your kids and your public schools that your kids go to. It's all about going from level to level. There's a couple people videos I might link in here. That's been discussing some interesting content that, again, that I personally believe. I believe in the biblical principles. I believe in some of the stuff that people are saying, and some of the stuff that people are saying when it comes to God's gifts for them and what they're using to determine certain things that are biblical. And again, I know some people feel some type of way about what I'm saying, but I'm not going to change up on what I feel about it, because there are things that I see as well. It's your choice who you vote for. It's your choice on how you move when it comes to voting. And even if you don't vote, if you say I'm not voting for neither candidate, are you okay with that decision? Are you okay with the outcome of one candidate or other? If you don't vote at all, right? You say I'm not even voting, and you don't, and one candidate wins that you don't really care for, or it doesn't matter. That's the same thing with your state. Even if you don't vote for your federal, go vote for your state and your state and your government at your state level. Because even if you get a president or you get a candidate that wins in the White House, and you have some government that's state level, then they can't really impact state that much. That's why Texas is so headstrong, the state of Texas, because they don't really, I guess they kind of push back against the federal government in some aspects, because your state government has their own set of rules versus the federal government. So take time to think about these things. The bashing, skin color, I have to say, people who vote for skin color because they look like me as a skin color, and you kind of seen what happened when we did that as a people, black people. You seen how that went when we voted for somebody just based off skin color. And you're saying, I don't care about policies. I just care because they look like me. You know, people that are black that look like you can have the same heart just as much as when they go in office. They can tell you one thing. They can say to you, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they don't do nothing. Or they do something for a certain type of group of people. Okay, so I have to say that. Let's not look at the material, the outer appearance. Let's look at what they're actually going to do. Are these candidates telling you what they're going to do? Are they saying, are you sitting back and looking at your neighborhood and your communities and saying, my community can use this, my community can use that? Are you sitting back and really thinking about what they can do? Or are you just looking at, oh, she looks like me? Or Donald Trump, oh, he looks, I'm not gonna say looks like you, but he also he familiarizes with someone I know in my neighborhood, and I think that he can do this. Let's look at the policies. And that's what's going to win. That's how it should be. It should be based off what you believe it should be. Not just things that outer appearance. So I just wanted to jump on here for that and say this. I know it's been a while. Again, I might drop some links from some videos. One of the videos is Franchot Pearson. There's a guy named Franchot Pearson I listen to, and he's been really he has a lot to say, numerology and putting things together, and it's really interesting information. So I may drop his video in the link in the comments below. So if you're interested in his video, you want to give it a shot and keep open mind, then you can. Again, I'm gonna try to put more content. I'm gonna probably try to maybe break down the electorate as the election get closer. I may do some research. Those who may know can you welcome to chime in on the videos I'm gonna put out. I may do a video on electoral colleges and the voting and talk about it a little bit more so people can have a better understanding. People have a better understanding on some of this stuff, and even going to some history and breaking some stuff down. Maybe that'll help you understand why we need to choose what we choose, and also talking about the roles of the state governments. I may talk about that. So, I know it's been a while again. Go ahead and check out the other videos if you're interested in what I'm saying. It just is kind of more of an introduction warm-up video, just kind of highlighting what's going on. I mean what I say about preparing. I did a couple of videos on that too. Starting to kind of take some stuff, set some stuff to the side if you financially can. Taking advantage of programs while they're still available. Okay, in regards to if you have helping places that help supply food and things of that nature, tap in and start kind of getting your little reserve. Start learning skills, how to deal, like gardening, planting fruits and vegetables, learning how to do certain things, get your chicken coop, learning how to if you can afford it. It might be tough for people, right? But even if you can, a lady, Appalachia Homestead, lady in Batara, she put out her video, 5 canned goods a day or 5 canned goods a week. Take an extra canned good and put it to the side. Check your expiration dates and put them to the side. You know what I'm saying? Build your little pantry. Build you some supplies. If you can afford it. You can't afford a lot of the other stuff, get your little can of corn, 99 cents. Ravioli, 109, or depending on where your store is. It might be higher, $2, $3. I don't know, depending on where you go. Get your stuff and put a little stuff to the side, because you never know when you're gonna need it. Learn some skills. Don't just sit around and eating the fast food. Check your foods and stuff. The quality of food is declining day by day. So, again, not to go on a rampage about it, but definitely got some material. Check out my other channels. I got some stuff for the Breaking Barriers Ministries channel that we have. Me and my wife, we have. So if you want to go check that out, I can link some stuff in the description below, or however you want. If you're interested, you just leave a comment. And also Freedom Fighters. That's my channel for gospel, the Lord Jesus Christ, and the things, all the Bible and the biblical things that I put on there, talking about different topics. And if you're interested in that, I can also leave a link in there, and y'all can check it out. Glad to be back. Definitely not gonna be the last time. I'll try to be a little bit more consistent, putting stuff out. And if you have topics you want to know about, or you think, hey, wouldn't mind looking into this, wouldn't mind looking into that, I'll definitely do my digging. If you're interested, you want to say, hey, I want you to, can you have some time to look into this topic? Easy day. I can go look into it, and I can do a video on it. So again, glad to be back. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all being safe. And I'll see y'all in the next video.